Hey guys, thank you for joining me for this masterclass. Today, I want to share with you how boosting your self-love and boosting your confidence is going to help you to become magnetic and accelerate your manifestation so that you can actually call in the things that you really, really desire, okay? Because self-love and manifestation go hand in hand. If you're not at a point where you're loving and accepting of yourself, then you're going to have a really, really tricky time calling in the things that you want to desire, that you desire. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit about how self-love can actually fuel or limit you calling in what you want, okay? I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your belief system and, the mean girl, the things that the mean girl can say. And I want to share with you a great exercise that you can do to actually practice noticing the mean girl and to start flipping the script, flipping the things that mean girl says. We're also going to talk about self-worth. Again, I'm going to share a really valuable exercise with you guys that is going to help you build your self-worth. And if you commit to doing that for the next couple of weeks, your self-worth and your confidence is going to skyrocket through the bloody roof. All right? Trust me on that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about raising your vibration as well, and some of the things that you can do to actually, help get yourself on a higher vibration so that you're feeling good more of the time. And that's going to help you to attract the things that you desire as well. So let's get into it. As I said, the first thing I want to talk about is how self-love can actually fuel or limit your manifestations. Okay, so whether or not we love ourselves wholly and completely is going to play a really, really big part in us consciously manifesting the things that we desire. Okay, I use the word consciously because we are always manifesting. Okay, we're always creating our life, and that's essentially what manifestation means. We're creating our life, we're creating our experiences. But when we step into our power is when we can actually learn how to consciously do that, okay? So we're doing that by design. We're calling in the things that we want into our lives, okay? So whether or not we love ourselves plays a really, really big part in our ability to consciously do that. So let me explain. First of all, we are magnetic, okay? So whether or not you've heard of the law of attraction or not, you may have in other manifestation teachings, and I'm not going to go too far into it today and into that side of it. But the law of attraction in its really simple form states that like attracts like. Okay, so if we are putting out an energy of love, if we're putting out an energy of being enough, feeling enough, having enough, okay, that's what we're going to receive back. So we're a mirror, okay? So our outer reality, I was about to say our inner reality, our outer reality is a reflection of what is going on inside, okay? So if you're feeling this like hatred, this scarcity, this lack, this not being enough, not having enough, then that is what that mirror is going to reflect back to you. That is what your outer reality is going to reflect back to you. And that's probably the biggest reason why it's so important that we work on this stuff, that we go inward and that we actually work on this self-love stuff before we can sort of really start to expect that we're gonna call in the things that we desire. Okay, we are magnetic, we are a mirror, our outer reality is going to reflect back what is going on inside of us, okay? Self-love is going to mean that you have smoother manifestations. So as I said before, if we're not loving and accepting of ourselves, then it's going to mean that we're going to have a harder time calling in the things that we want. And that really ties into us being magnetic, being that mirror, okay? And always reflecting back what's going on inside, okay? When we come from a place of love, when we feel worthy, when we feel deserving of actually calling in what we want, things are going to come to us with a lot more flow, with a lot more grace, and with a lot more ease. Feeling good raises our vibration, and that's why I want to talk a little bit later about raising your vibration, okay? But when we feel good, we raise our vibration. When we love ourselves, when we accept ourselves, when we feel confident, we feel good, okay? And when we feel good, we raise our vibration. We attract consciously when we're in a higher vibration. And I'll talk a little bit more about what a higher vibration looks like as opposed to a lower vibration. Okay, so don't worry if you're lost on that. I'm gonna clarify that a little bit later. Okay, when we love and accept ourselves, we feel the confidence to actually get real with ourselves about what we want. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but when I was in a place where I wasn't feeling good about myself, I wasn't feeling worthy, I didn't know what loving myself meant. Okay, I didn't know what it meant to love myself. When I was in that place, I didn't even allow myself to get real about what I wanted. And if a thought ever came into my mind about, wanting something, that I felt was out of reach, I wouldn't even allow myself to entertain that thought. Okay, I would not even allow myself to entertain that thought because it didn't feel safe for me to. I felt that if I entertained those sorts of thoughts that I would be setting myself up for failure. So I never even allowed myself to get clear about what I wanted. Okay, and one of the biggest things that we need to do when we're calling in the things that we want, we need to get clear about what we want first, right? Logically speaking, that makes sense. So I never even allowed myself to get real about what I wanted until I built that self-love, until I built that confidence in myself to actually look and go, hey, you know what? I am worthy of that. And I started to believe that I could have what I wanted. Okay, but that didn't come for me until I started working those self-love muscles, and I started to kind of build that worth and that confidence within myself. And then finally, when we love ourselves, we can relax a little bit more. Okay, we aren't always on edge. And when we can relax a little bit more, that means that we can surrender and we can let go. And this is a huge piece when it comes to actually calling in the things that we desire. Okay, we need to be able to release our attachment over the outcome. We need to be able to surrender and let go. And we need to be able to say, do you know what? If this thing or this experience or whatever it is that you're calling in, if it comes to me, then that is great. But if it doesn't, I know and I am confident that I am whole and I am enough as I am. Okay, and I am happy as things are. But if that comes to me, then great. The universe responds to that kind of energy. It's like, when you're a bit too thirsty, the universe can also respond in the opposite way. Okay, so when we're able to surrender and to let go, okay, we that energy that we put out is a lot more. It's on a lot of much higher vibration. Okay, totally stumbled on my words there, but I think you get what I mean. So when we're able to just lean back and surrender, knowing that the universe has got our back, knowing that regardless of whether that thing or that experience comes to us, then we are going to be okay. Okay, so loving yourself is absolutely freaking key to being able to call in what you want. And as I said before, first of all, before I actually worked on and before I started to realize what it meant to love myself and to accept myself for who I am, I didn't even, number one, feel confident enough to really look at what I wanted. Okay, I didn't feel confident enough to look at what I wanted. And if I'm not going to feel confident enough to look at what I wanted, then how am I going to feel confident to call that stuff in? Okay, so that is why being able to love and accept yourself and be able to embrace yourself for the freaking beautiful, unique person that you are, that's why this is so important. Okay, so you've got to love and you've got to be proud of yourself in your rawest and most true and authentic form. And when we can do that, we can begin to get real about what we want. And when we can get real about what we want, we can start to put the wheels in motion to actually calling that in. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you about is your beliefs about yourself. Okay, your words cast a spell. your words cast a spell. And once we say something, we tend to believe it. Okay. And when we believe those inner thoughts, we actually act as that person that we believe we are. Okay. We act as the person that we believe that we are. So knowing that your words cast a spell, instead of casting, kind of a negative spell, a negative spell that's sort of stuck in that lack, stuck in that scarcity, sort of always wishing for more, always wanting more, never feeling enough, never feeling like you're having enough, being enough, that sort of thing. How about starting to cast a spell that is a much more positive spell, starting to look at these negative stories that we tell ourselves, okay? And we're all capable of actually looking at those and starting to change that dialogue. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about next. I want to talk to you about the mean girl, okay? If you're not aware of the mean girl yet, get ready to get aware, because this is really freaking powerful. And becoming aware of this voice, this inner critic, this ego, are some of the other terms that we use to refer to the mean girl. Becoming aware of this is such a huge, huge step, okay? Because we don't know what we don't know. And if we don't know that something exists or that something is, playing out the way that it is, then how the heck are we ever going to be able to fix it? Okay? So becoming aware is like such a first crucial step to actually starting to change some of these thoughts and these belief systems. And as I said, I'm going to share with you an exercise that you can do to actually start changing this stuff for yourself. But anyway, a little bit about the mean girl. The mean girl is that voice that pops up when we think about doing something new, when we think about doing something different, or, when we start to consider getting out of our comfort zone. Okay. So some examples, of the mean girl might be, Carly, are you kidding? You're not going to go to the beach and wear that freaking bikini, are you? You're not bikini ready. Or, things like, oh, when I'm about to hit send on an Instagram post or something like that, Carly, that's not the best picture of you. Or that caption, no one's going to read it. No one's going to resonate with it. That new program that you've just created, like, why are you bothering? Why are you going to waste your time on that? It's not going to resonate with anyone. These are some of the things that, the mean girl likes to pipe up and say. And the really, really important thing to remember about the mean girl, or to know about the mean girl, is that her role is to protect us. Okay, that's first and foremost her role. It's to protect us. And this was really, really useful many years back when, we had like saber-toothed tigers just walking around the streets, or whatever the streets were back then. When we had saber-toothed tigers and things like that we actually needed physical protection from. Okay. And in that scenario, we probably wouldn't call her the mean girl. We'd probably call her the ego, or that inner voice. We needed that protection back then from predators, and it's still really useful today when we need protection, when we need physical protection. But where we can start to get into trouble is when we listen to that mean girl when she's trying to protect us from being uncomfortable. Okay, so the first really important distinction to make is when you hear that inner voice, is to get clear on whether that voice is trying to protect you from a physical danger, or whether it's trying to protect you from maybe being uncomfortable, maybe feeling potentially a little bit silly, or just, getting out of your comfort zone. So that's your first task, is to notice when that voice comes up, and to determine whether it's trying to protect you from a physical danger or discomfort. Okay. Now, if I was to walk out onto the street, or if I was, standing at the street and there's cars coming, and that voice said to me, Carly, don't walk out in front of oncoming traffic, then that's actually really quite helpful. Okay. And that's what I was getting at before when I said that this voice serves a purpose. Okay. It's still a very valuable voice for us, but that is one example of where it is trying to protect me. And I would go, oh, okay, thank you. But on the flip side, if I'm sitting down to record a video like this, and that mean girl pops up and says, Carly, maybe don't do that video. You're probably going to stumble on your words, which I have a couple of times. People aren't going to watch it. People aren't going to enjoy it. Don't even bother. Now, the mean girl did pop up for me before I filmed this video, okay? And I had two choices. I could either listen to that voice and I could say, oh my God, you know what? You're right. Like, I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to stumble on my words and look like a complete idiot. I don't want to put this video out there and then nobody watch it. I won't do it. So that was my first choice. But I chose the second choice, which was to show up and to do that video anyway. Okay, to show up and to do that video, to trust myself, to trust in my message, and to be okay with the fact that, you know what, I'm not fucking perfect. I'm not perfect. I stumble on my words like the next person, and if people choose to watch it, then that's brilliant. And if I can, help anybody with this message, then I'm overjoyed. And if nobody takes the opportunity to watch it, then that's okay. There'll always be more opportunities. So do you see what I mean? There's always two choices. We can choose to stay in our comfort zone where we don't have to risk potentially feeling a little bit silly or feeling uncomfortable by doing something different, okay? But we also, when we make that decision to stay where we are and to stay in that comfort zone, then we don't grow, okay? We don't grow. We have no opportunity for reward or for growth or for anything like that. We can take that second choice and go, do you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm just going to show up and I'm going to be myself and I'm going to share my message and share what's true for me. If I stumble on my words, as I said before, I'm human and people get that. And as a result, we grow, okay? We put ourselves in the position where we have the opportunity for reward. We have the opportunity to impact other people. Okay. And much like, the other example that I shared earlier about, not being bikini ready and not going to the beach, we can choose to not go to the beach. We can choose to miss out on that time potentially with our family and friends. We can choose to miss out on the beautiful sound of the ocean and the beautiful vitamin D that we would be getting. Or we can say, fuck it. And we can be who we are. We can remember that people are not looking at us because every other person is just as worried about themselves as what you're worried about yourself. Okay. And we can go to the beach. We can create new memories with our families, with our friends, with our kids. We can enjoy the sunshine and the fresh air. Okay. So that is the role of the mean girl. And if we continue to listen to that mean girl, then we allow ourselves to play small, okay? We allow ourselves to remain in a position where we don't grow, where we don't get anything different, okay? You know that saying, if you do the same thing, you get the same results. And that's exactly what this mean girl does, okay? She wants to keep us in that place where we feel safe, okay? She doesn't want us to feel unsafe or to risk feeling silly or to risk, stepping out of our comfort zone. But if we stay in that comfort zone, then we don't ever grow. Okay. So your job, first of all, is to recognize when this mean girl voice pops up. And as I said before, determine if she's trying to protect you from a physical danger, such as a saber-toothed tiger or getting hit by a car. Okay. Or if she's trying to protect you from feeling uncomfortable. So what I would love for you guys to do, so this is a really valuable exercise and I do this all the time, okay? Because the other thing I want to tell you is that the mean girl doesn't go away, guys. The mean girl doesn't go away. But we get better. Once we sort of start becoming aware, we get better at actually recognizing when she comes up. And when we recognize when she comes up, we know what to do. And this is what I'm going to share with you now. So number one, become aware. So what have you been, and I should have said at the beginning of this, sorry, grab a journal and a pen. If you haven't done that just yet, pause this video, go grab yourself a journal and a pen and write down these exercises and these questions. So the first questions to ask yourself is, what have you been telling yourself to be the truth about yourself up until now? Okay, what has your mean girl been telling you that is the truth about yourself up until now? Okay, so it might be things like your mean girl might tell you that you need to be in better shape to be worthy, or that you need to have a certain qualification before you can show up and share your message, or whatever the thing is that your mean girl is telling you. Okay, write down all of those things. Okay, then the second step is to determine, is this true? So for each of those things that your mean girl is saying to you, go through and determine if they're true. Now, if there is any evidence to the contrary, and there is, I'm going to tell you that there is evidence to the contrary for all of those things that your mean girl is telling you, then I want you to write down all of that evidence. And then what that does is that proves that this belief that you have is not true. Okay, so you might have another belief that that says manifestation doesn't work. For example, okay, what I would then suggest that you do is you go and look at all the people who practice manifestation and who have success with the principles, okay? Because then that is evidence that that belief is not true. Okay, then that is, and when you can disprove a belief, then that is fucking amazing, because what that means is that you truly start to show yourself that you can do anything. Okay, and then you open yourself up for the third step in this process, which is to ask yourself if you are willing to see this differently. Okay, and if you're willing to see this differently, then that means that you can create a new truth for yourself. Because the fact is that we've created this current truth for ourselves. And, you know, if we sort of go back to how our beliefs are formed, you know, between the ages of like 0 and 7 years old, our belief system is formed, okay? And it is formed by experiences, by things that we observe through, you know, the people that we spend most of our time with, parents, grandparents, teachers, and that sort of thing. That's how our beliefs are formed. So another really powerful question to ask yourself when you're looking at the mean girl and what she says to you, ask yourself, is this belief truly mine? Is this belief truly mine? Okay, because what you'll probably find is that the belief goes back to, you know, it might be your parents or to a teacher. And once you realize that that belief hasn't come from yourself, then you can start to work on actually releasing it if you choose to. So sorry, I digress a little bit, but the third step there is to ask yourself, am I willing to see this differently? What new truth am I going to decide gets to be my reality from now on? Okay, because as I said before, we get to decide our reality. We get to decide our truth. If we've already decided a truth up until now, that's okay. That's perfect. No judgment. Look at it with compassion. What that means is that we get to create a new truth and we get to create a new reality ourselves. Okay? And we get to be the influence because now we're aware. Okay? So feel into this new truth. Okay? Really feel into it and act as if it's true. So start showing up as though it's true. So if your previous truth, perhaps your mean girl has been telling you that, you know, I am not worthy. Okay, I am just not worthy. If you decide that your new truth is, I am worthy, I am fucking worthy, because every single one of you are, by the way. If that is your new truth, then you show up and you act as though you are worthy and you feel into that truth. Okay, so you start to think about what are the things that a worthy person is going to do. How does a worthy person show up? Okay, they speak with confidence, you know, they do the things that they want to do. Okay, they dare to dream. Okay, they dare to dream, and then they dare to go after the things that they want because they know that they're deserving of having them. Okay, so start to think about it like that. Start to feel into the feelings of being worthy. Okay, how does being worthy make you feel? Okay, it might be things like powerful. It might be things like authentic. It might be things like happy, like loving, whatever those feelings are for you. Write them all down and then try and spend a few minutes, at least a few minutes, each day or every couple of days, where you're really connecting to those feelings. And the best way that I could suggest that you do this is through meditation. Okay, so just get really quiet and see yourself as that worthy person. Okay, feel those feelings, allow yourself to feel it, because you know what, if you can see it and you can feel it, then you can have it. Okay, and that's the first step to actually to calling in these things that we desire. Okay, so doing that alone is going to help you, build that confidence within yourself, and that's going to increase your magnetism to calling in what you desire. Okay, so next we're going to talk about self-worth. I'm just going to have a quick drinks break. Okay, cool. So next I'm going to talk about worthiness. Okay, and this is a big area for us, particularly us women, as mums, as friends, as daughters, as wives or partners. This is a big area that I talk to women a lot, and we struggle with this. Okay, and I've had my struggles with self-worth, believe me. But let's be clear. Okay, if you don't feel worthy of attracting your desires, then you're going to have a lot of trouble doing so. Okay, you've got to feel worthy of calling in the things that you really want. Okay, you've got to feel worthy. And as I said to you very briefly before, I was never able to call in anything that I really desired until I felt worthy. Okay, I spent 6 years in a shitty, toxic relationship because I felt that was all I was worthy of. Okay, and towards the end of that period, when I started to realize that I was worthy, and I actually made the decision to leave that situation, I started to consciously create things. Because I dared to dream. Okay, I dared to dream, and I began to realize my own worth. Okay, it's a process, and I'm going to share with you guys a really powerful exercise that I wish I'd known all of those years ago, but I've only discovered recently through one of my mentors this year. And it's a really powerful exercise. So if you can commit to doing this, then you will see your self-worth skyrocket. Okay, as I said before. But one of the things about self-worth, and one of the, I suppose, mistakes, for lack of a better word, that a lot of us make is tying our self-worth to things outside of us, okay, or to other people outside of us. Whether that might be, as I said, people, it might be a job, it might be, relationship status, financial position, and that sort of thing. But there is real danger in doing this, guys. There is real danger in doing this, because these things could all be taken away from us. We could lose these things. Okay, they could all just disappear in the blink of an eye. And I invite you to ask yourself, if you are tying your self-worth to these things, let's just say you're tying your self-worth to a job, what would happen if you lost that job or you got demoted? What happens to your self-worth? What happens to your self-worth if you've tied all of your self-worth in these things outside of you, and if you lose them, then what happens to your self-worth? As I said before, I tied my self-worth, I don't think I did say this before, but I'll say it now. I tied my self-worth to relationship status, first and foremost when I was in my early 20s, mid-20s. I tied my self-worth to relationship status. I thought that if I wasn't in a relationship, then I wasn't worthy, because if somebody else didn't love me, then how could I possibly love myself? Whereas it's the other way around. If we can't love ourselves, how can we expect somebody else to? But we are so much more than our relationship status or the number that we see on the scales. This is another one that I have personally tied my self-worth to, the number on the scales. And I've got to tell you, it's so freeing and it's so liberating when you do realize that you are worth so much more than that. Your worth is not determined by how much money you have in the bank, whether you're married, whether you're in a partnership, whether you're a mother, whether you're a father, you know, what you weigh, how much you lift at the gym, what your job is, your self-worth. None of that means shit when it comes to your self-worth, guys. None of that means shit. And so I encourage you now, pull out your journal, and I want you to ask yourself, what am I tying my self-worth to? Okay? Is it things that are outside of you? And again, no judgment, okay? If it is things that are outside of you, that's okay. Look at this with compassion, okay? You are doing the best that you can. Now I'm going to help you open your eyes so that you can start to do things, you know, maybe differently if you feel called to. So ask yourself, what am I tying my self-worth to? And what if these things were taken away from me? How would I feel? And I want you to get really honest with this, and I want you to go deep and yeah, get really, really honest with yourself. This can be confronting. It can be confronting. I'm not going to lie. But you'll see the power in it once you actually go through this exercise. Okay. So now I want to share with you this beautiful self-worth exercise that is really going to help you to boost your self-worth, for lack of another description. But I practiced this exercise for 30 days, I think it was, when I first learned it. I learned it through my mentor, Kimberly Wenya, who learned it through her mentors. And it really helped me shift the way that I show up. And it helped me kind of shift how I perceive myself as well. And you know what, this is a really nice little nudge for me to pick this up again and do this again for another period, because, you know, we can all use a bit of a self-worth pick-me-up, I think, at times. But so what I want you to do is, for the next 10 days, we'll just do 10 days and then see how this feels. For the next 10 days, you might want to do this in a separate journal and have a journal specifically for this exercise. But for the next 10 days, write down 10 of your qualities or traits, okay? And they could be anything. Like, that could be I'm patient, you know, I'm loving, I'm kind, like whatever the things are. Okay, I'm organized, whatever those things are within yourself. And where we go a step further and where we go a little bit deeper on this, and where the real magic happens, is when we can actually tie this quality or trait to a specific event and a specific moment in time where you remember demonstrating that quality. You remember showing up as that person, okay? So let's just take an example. So let's say if for me an example is I'm patient, right? What I would then do is I would recall a moment in time where I was patient, and I would get really specific on it, and I would write down all the details. So for example, I was patient on Monday at 9 a.m. when I was trying to get my daughter dressed, and I wanted to go to the gym to do a class at the gym, and she was running around without her pants on. She just wanted to run around with a nappy. She was holding her pants and waving them in the air, and she was going, right? And she just didn't want to do it. She just didn't want to get dressed. She didn't want to get dressed, and I allowed her to run around to get what it was out of her system, and I allowed her to just, you know, do what she needed to do and get dressed in her own time. So I demonstrated patience in that moment, okay? So this is where the power is, because what this does is this actually connects you to the situation, and you can actually see. It's kind of like you can kind of have that bird's eye view of you demonstrating that quality, rather than just writing down the word I'm patient on a piece of paper. This tends to connect us a lot more to that quality. We can see the situation where we demonstrated that trait or that quality. Okay, so do this exercise for 10 days. Try to pick 10 different qualities or traits, or at the very least, make sure that you tie them to 10 different examples. So if you do use the trait patience, if you use that twice, then make sure that you connect it to 2 different situations where you demonstrated patience. So this is really going to expand your perception of yourself, okay? It's going to help you to see these incredible things about yourself and the things that you wouldn't ordinarily notice. And, you know, if you do need a bit of a nudge, then you can always ask, you know, a partner or somebody that you're close with and that you trust to maybe give you a little bit of a helping hand with what some of these qualities are, and then reflect back yourself and tie them yourself to a specific situation. Okay. And by doing this exercise, if you do this for 10 days, and you can do it for as long as you want, but I would suggest a minimum of 10 days, you're really going to boost your self-worth. Okay. You're really going to build your confidence. And this again is going to impact how you're calling in the things that you want into your life. Okay. This is a really powerful exercise. It might sound really simple, although it might not. You know, for some of us, it is a challenge to kind of sit down and to reflect on ourselves. We can feel a little bit uncomfortable. And if you do feel resistance about this, what I would encourage you to remember is that is the mean girl popping up. Okay, that's the mean girl popping up going, this isn't going to work. Or she's probably saying things like, you know, you don't have 10 different qualities for 10 days. What are you talking about? I encourage you to be willing to see this differently. Okay, this is a really good practice to kind of become aware of that mean girl and to practice seeing it differently and to push through and to do it anyway. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, guys, is raising your vibration. Okay. We've got to feel good first. So if we're talking about calling in the things that we desire into our lives, it's so important that we actually make the time to feel good within ourselves. Okay. To feel good physically, mentally, spiritually, you know, in every single aspect of our life, we've got to feel good. And it really should be a priority. It really should be a priority before anything else. And what you'll find is that if you actually practice feeling good, that the other stuff starts to flow. Okay. And I learned this because I used to do it the other way around. I used to think, well, I'm just going to go and do my work first, and then I'll do my meditation, or then I'll do my journaling, or then I'll do the things that make me feel good. And what I found was that I was like, just, you know, I felt like I was pushing and nothing was flowing for me. I felt like everything was a lot harder. Okay. I didn't feel as creative as what I could have and what I do now. Okay. So feeling good first. How we feel matters. Everything that we desire to manifest is because we desire a particular feeling. Okay. I want you to really think about that. Everything that we want in our lives is because it makes us feel a certain way. And when I reflect back on this, I reflect, you know, back on a previous relationship that wasn't a good relationship. And I used to sort of think like, oh, I just want nothing more than for this to work because I want to feel loved and, you know, I want to feel secure. Okay. And the thing was that I wanted the feelings of love and I wanted the feelings of security, but I didn't necessarily want it within that person, want it from that person. Okay. So when I allowed myself to actually start connecting with those feelings, and I sort of realized, well, hang on a second, maybe I don't want it from that person. The universe then stepped in and allowed me to make some other decisions to allow me to put those feelings first, if that makes sense. So from a place of feeling good, we can welcome more feeling good into our lives. Okay. So, you know, often again as well, like if you're thinking about wanting to get healthy, you want to be healthy because it makes you feel a particular way. It might make you feel vital. It might make you feel energetic. Okay. And when we sort of think, if you're sort of tying that to a number on the scales, this is a really good opportunity to kind of maybe remove that tie to the number on the scales and just sort of think, well, to me, feeling healthy means feeling energetic and feeling vital. Do I feel that way? Yes. Well, then you're on the track to feeling healthy. Okay. Sorry, I digressed a little bit. When we feel good, everything seems easier. Everything flows. And when we're not feeling good, because sometimes we won't, and that's perfectly okay. But what really matters is that we know how to get ourselves back into a place of feeling good. Okay. Life happens. Everything is in balance. We are not going to feel good 24/7. Okay. And if anybody tells you that they feel good 24/7, they're probably bullshitting you, because I don't believe it's possible. Everything in life has to be in balance. That's just the way that the universe works. Okay. For a positive, there's going to be a negative. For a good, there's going to be a bad. Okay. That's just the way that the universe works. But the way that, but what's important, is that knowing, right? Okay. Is learning to recognize when we're in that period of the lower vibration. Okay. And then having some strategies or some things that we can do that we know are going to make us feel good, therefore get us back to that place of a higher vibration. So I'll just explain to you really simply and very briefly the law of vibration, okay? So the law of vibration states that everything in the universe has its own frequency, and that things of a similar frequency are drawn together, okay? They're drawn to each other. And I actually I read that because I'm quoting Jordana Levin from her book, Make It Happen, which is a really great book if you want to learn more about manifestation in a really kind of simple, cool way. But you know, when something like really resonates with you, or you click with somebody, that means that you're on you're vibrating on the same frequency or a similar frequency. You're drawn to each other. Okay. So high energy attracts more high energy, and the same, like low energy attracts more low energy. So in order to be in a place where we can, you know, sort of consciously call in the things that we desire, we want to be in that in a place of higher energy and higher vibration more of the time than we are in a lower place. Okay. But again, what I do want to reinforce is that we can't be in a place of high vibration and, you know, high energy all the time. It's just simply not going to happen. And if you expect that of yourself, then you're going to set yourself up for failure. Okay. So sort of lower those expectations, but know what you can do to get yourself back into a place of feeling good. The other thing I want to talk about as well is sometimes we need to feel shit. Okay. Sometimes we really need to allow ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling. And I say this a lot, we've got to feel the feelings. Okay. So if you are in a place where you're feeling down, or you're feeling anxious, or you're feeling just heavy, allow yourself to sit in it and allow it to pass over you. Okay. It's kind of like being in the ocean, right? And like you're swimming against the waves, and you see that there's this like big fuck off wave coming towards you. You've got two options. You can kind of panic and you can struggle against it and try to push through, or you can take a deep breath and you can pop yourself under the water. You can allow that wave to pass over you. And then when the wave has passed over, you can pop back up. Okay. And that's kind of how I liken feeling the feelings. Okay. Allow that wave to wash over you. Whatever it is that's coming up for you, allow yourself to feel it. Okay. Because the more you struggle against it, the more you're going to come up against big waves that are going to continue to push you, and that you're going to continue to struggle against. Okay. So, let's talk about the difference between high and low vibes very briefly, just so you can kind of like know which state you're in. A high vibration will feel, you know, you'll feel emotions like happy, you might feel enthusiastic, you might feel joy, you might feel fresh, bright, bubbly, and fun. You know, I'm feeling like I'm in sort of a high vibrational state right now. I feel like things are flowing and I'm doing what I enjoy, so I'm feeling quite good, okay? But if I was in a state of low vibration, I might feel things like dense, I might feel heavy, I might feel a bit of struggle, I might feel, you know, drained, I might feel flat, things like that, okay? And we are always going to have moments in time where we do feel these feelings, and that's perfectly okay. It's about being able to recognize when you're in a place of those low vibes, and having a bit of a plan in place, having something in your back pocket in a way that you can kind of do that you know is going to make you feel good, and that's going to help you to raise that vibration. Okay. And one of the ways, well, there's a few different ways that I like to do this, and I'll just share a couple of them with you. Gratitude is such a powerful practice. So if you don't have a gratitude practice just yet, you might like to start one, and really going inward and reflecting on the things that you're grateful for every single day. If you do it at the beginning of your day, it can really help you to sort of start your day on that higher vibration. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations that we can be in. And it is a really quick and easy way to help you raise your vibration. So if you have got a practice and you do it every day, then that's brilliant. You might even just like to, if you do feel a bit dense at times, to just kind of stop and think like, okay, let's reconnect with gratitude. What am I grateful for? What is the good that I can see in this situation? Okay. And you can start to shift that situation. And I mean, there's always something to be grateful for in every single situation. Sometimes it's really fucking hard to see, and I do get that. But there is always something that we can be grateful for, whether it's simply a lesson so that we do things differently next time. Okay. Whether it's just simply an opportunity, for us to go within, to look within. Okay, there's always something to be grateful for. The other thing that I like to do is a high vibe love list. Okay, so this is just simply a list of things that make me feel good. Okay, it's a list of my favorite things to do, and I have that stuck up in my kitchen so that if I'm feeling in a low vibe kind of place, I can look at that list and I can really quickly choose one of those things that I know is going to make me feel good, and I can go and do that thing. Okay. I mean, we make, I don't even know how many, like 80,000, give or take, decisions every single day. So what I find is if I'm in a place and I'm feeling like maybe a little bit of anxiety is washing over me, I'll allow myself to feel that feeling and to honor that feeling, to acknowledge it. But then I'll go and do something from that high vibe love list. Okay, I'll choose one of the things on there that resonates with me in that moment. I've got a list of, it's about 10 things on there that I like to do. Things that, don't require a lot of time or energy, or things that I can do anywhere as well, so that I can just simply pick one of those things to do. You might even want to put that list on your phone so that if you are out and about, you can just quickly look at your phone and your notes section, and you can go, okay, I'm just gonna do this thing now, whether it's to take 3 deep breaths or to just do a quick journal entry or whatever it is. But that high vibe love list has really, really helped me to just bring myself back to that state of high vibrations. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, guys. You're boosting your self-love and your confidence is going to take you so far when it comes to actually calling in the things that you want, okay? It's a really crucial first step. And I think it's a first step that, that a lot of people miss when they launch into wanting to manifest the things that they want. We've got to get this piece right first, okay? We've got to get that self-love, that acceptance for ourselves first. We've got to be able to learn how to embrace ourselves and to look at ourselves for the beautiful, unique individuals that we are. And when we can do that, that's when we can start to consciously create the things that we so desire. So I hope that you have found this little masterclass really helpful, and I absolutely encourage you guys to shoot me any questions. Drop me a DM on Instagram at Carly Heinges. Or that's probably the best way to contact me. So have a beautiful day, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to chat with you again soon. Mwah.